Thousands of Iranians cheering on the country's supreme leader during a rare sermon in the country's capital. They're pledging more attacks on Israel in the coming days. This coming after that massive missile attack launched by Iran killed a Palestinian and injured 2 Israelis. The Iron Dome missile defense system shielding much of the country from the attack that targeted military bases as well as civilians in Tel Aviv. Israel has yet to respond to that Iranian attack, but as the Israeli ground invasion of Lebanon ramps up, many worry that an attack on Iran could unleash open warfare throughout the Middle East. And joining me now is the host of the Daniel Davis YouTube show and senior fellow at Defense Priorities, retired Army Colonel Daniel Davis, who wrote about the challenges of fighting insurgencies following his deployment to Afghanistan in 2011. You are well qualified to talk about this subject. Colonel, over the past week, Israel has begun its ground war in Lebanon, counterattacked Houthi militia in Yemen, and launched airstrikes in Gaza and the West Bank. So a lot going on here. How much longer can Israel keep up this kind of tempo of these attacks?
Listen, it is probably unsustainable what they're doing right now, because you've seen that it's already been almost a few days short of a full year that they've been fighting in the Gaza Strip, and that's still not over. And then now they have started this major incursion, and it's really, in all intents and purposes, an all-out war in Lebanon, because it's everything in the air, on the ground, and all the aspects of that to include the full-scale on the ground part. But now then you're talking about expanding into Iran. And listen, this is not going to be just a one-off kind of situation. If they strike here, both the Iranian foreign minister and the deputy commander of the IRGC today emphasized that if Israel does anything further, their next response will be substantially larger than this last one was. And then you're just back in this tit for tat going up the escalation ladder. The real problem, I think, for the United States is that Israel is getting in over its skis, so to speak, and that they can't sustain these things. And then there's going to potentially come a day when people say, well, we need the U.S. to come in on our side, or they won't be able to continue fighting. And that is our big risk.
Yeah, we're looking at the smoke from the missiles in Beirut right now. It's just absolutely devastating, especially when you look at these buildings that we're showing you live right now. And thinking about the people that are there on the ground, it is absolutely terrifying. Men, women, children in this area. Israel is warning residents in southern Lebanon to evacuate their homes for good reason, and is moving more IDF troops to the Lebanese border. So I guess the question here is Israel preparing to expand their ground invasion of Lebanon? People need to know this. Could we see a situation similar to Gaza unfold here? Could that happen?
Well, I mean, you've had Netanyahu outright warn of that possibility of turning Beirut into Gaza and southern Lebanon into Gaza. I mean, directly stated that. And you saw on that map you just showed there, it's a great graphic, because that shows the enormity of what Israel is apparently preparing for. And I'm just telling you, from a military perspective, that is an extraordinarily difficult task to give to a force the size of the Israeli Defense Forces. We're not talking about just some rockets or having, limited strikes or raids, et cetera. That is an all-out military offensive to wipe out all of the enemy forces in the southern part of the country. And that goes up to about 60 kilometers deep and about 120 kilometers wide. I just don't know how Israel has the military capacity to do that, because what we're talking about is not even a few months. We're talking, this could be measured in years to be able to force them out that far, because you have to understand that unlike the Gaza Strip, which is hermetically sealed, this is wide open. So anybody in the region, whether it's Iran or some of these other militia groups in the region, can just pour whatever they want into the country, to include manpower, to help the Lebanese, the Hezbollah side. So this is not something that's going to go away quick. And I think that Israel is biting off more than it can chew militarily.
This is so devastating to think about when you talk about years. Israel is still weighing its response to Iran's missile attack, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying this following the attack. Let's listen.
איראן עשתה הערב טעות גדולה, והיא תשלם על כך. המשטר באיראן לא מבין את נחישותנו להגן על עצמנו ואת נחישותנו לגמול לאויבינו.
So Israel has already launched attacks against Iran's proxies like the Houthis and Hezbollah, but Do you think we could still see Israel attack Iran itself? I mean, many people are predicting that. Is that what you think?
I mean, I don't see how they can do anything besides that.
Mm.
The strength with which Netanyahu has spoken. You can add in Yoav Gallant. You can add Ambassador Danny Danon. I mean, just every and the commander of the Israeli Armed Forces, Halavi. I mean, they have all said this is coming. Boots on the ground in the southern Lebanon, and then they're talking about this strike, which will be severe and painful, is the words they keep using. And you have similar language from the Iranian side saying if that comes, our response will also be escalated. And listen, you can't defeat a country with just missile power. You can kill a lot of people and blow a lot of stuff up, but ultimately the war is going to keep going on, and there's no objective. I don't see any militarily accomplishable objective that this would be trying to attain. It's just more fighting and more killing, and that is not good for Israel, and it's definitely not good for the United States.
Yeah, your heart goes out to the people that live in the area that we're looking at on your screen in Beirut and all around this region. It is just devastating, but we'll keep on it. Retired Colonel Daniel Davis, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.